Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Simon with ToughTrader.com, doing the live market preview for ES, a little bit of oil, a little bit of bonds. We'll cover it. But first, we're going to start with ES and get that knocked out right out of the gate. Quick note before we get started, let me get this up. Of course, I don't have it here, but I will get it fixed. Wow, I'm just having the hardest time with the position of these keyboards for whatever reason. But I've done it like this. There we go. Okay. If you'll take a minute to read that legal notice, past performance is not indicative of future results. This is for educational purposes only. Trading futures involves a substantial amount of risk. You can lose all the capital you've committed to trading, right? Please know what you're doing. Have an edge. Understand that your edge will shift from time to time, and make sure that you're making the appropriate adjustments as you're moving forward so that you get better over time. Do not blow yourself up. Totally not necessary. Wow, and I just spilt my coffee, but not horribly. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Pardon the pause. I'm going to grab some napkins real quick, and we will. Here we go. Got it. Little tiny spill. Cup top holder did its job. There we are. Loss of coffee, but that can always be fixed. Okay, good deal. Coffee not on computer, so that's a great thing. So let's get moving forward. So a couple things. First of all, ES is now negative on the day, barely down 50 cents. I don't even have NQ up on my desktop, so I wanted to go look and see where it is trading. I will tell you really quick. I just find my day goes a lot easier without stressing about how jumpy NQ is being. NQ is still up 9 points, and it's on a train ride, right? So posted a couple of charts last night, and there's a couple things I wanted to show. So the first thing that I wanted to show that I thought was really important, that a couple people have asked me about the one timing feature and why it's a big deal. So if you look out of the gate, this is the bond market. This is just for, here, let me get rid of all the pretty little lines I have on there so I can get my point across. Okay. See, when we are one timing here, I'm going to draw this. This is what one timing is. For those who have asked, this is one timing. It's an important concept. There we go. Okay. See here where we shift down right here. This is the first day of one timing right here. See how we have the inability to trade above prior day's high? Can't trade above this high. Can't trade above this high. Can't trade above this high. Can't trade, or we need to trade above that high. Notice that it is a very strong indicator in trending instruments that you are trending. Now, does it mean when you can automatically identify that we're one timing? Nope. Usually it's kind of the kind of thing that you look backwards and go, oh, we're one timing to the downside. But there's an important piece of information there, right? When you can't trade above or below the prior day's high or low, and you've obviously shifted and you're trading below the value area of the prior day, right? So here you could say, right? Here you could say, if you looked back on the 10th and you go, hey, we closed above value, right? We opened above value. We tested into value. This is bonds, right? Came right out of value and closed above. I could go, if I had a position, let's say I initiated a position here and we closed over here, I could hypothetically say, hey, so long as we don't trade below the prior day's low, I hypothetically have the possibility of one timing to the upside. Why is that important? Because if you hold your positions, right, all you got to do is put your stop one tick below the prior day's low. 2 ticks maybe, because if it even goes 1 tick below, you're not one timing, right? Why is that important? Because when you get days like this here, so see here, we came into resistance, rejected out of resistance right up here, and it closed. And you could say here, hey, we may be one timing. Obviously, if you shorted this, you didn't want to have your stop all the way up at the high, but that's another conversation. The fact is, if you kept your stop 1 tick above the high, you were able to get the extension down until such time as we traded above the prior day's high. Not only that, but in trending instruments, the mere fact that we traded above prior day's high, right, and closed above prior day's high tells you that the trend may have reversed. It's a pretty simple tool, but once it's reversed, notice you go, hey, I'm going to hold this. I'm going to put my stop right here. Clearly, you have to be a swing trader in order to make this work, right? But now you are one timing. See how you can't trade below the prior day's low. And the advantage to that is you can now have the possibility of a massive move up. And will you catch the high? No, you'll always get clipped somehow, right? So the one timing ended in this case right here. But this is the reason why I am bringing this point up. One timing ended right at this point right here. The reason why I bring up this point, and it is important, is because when you start getting this, let's say you came up here, I would have said that this was pretty strong resistance right here, right? I would have said really that was the last piece of resistance on the way up. I would have had a line similar to this in the bonds. I don't trade bonds regularly. I would have had a line in the sand right to that. And you see we came right to it. You see we tested above it, failed, and closed back in, right? Why is that important? That is important because if we're one timing to the upside, well, yes, I got the right position intraday, right? I obviously sidestepped if I needed it. If before I take a trade like this, I need to see us trade below prior day's low, I sidestepped this nightmare of a horrendous move to the upside, right? So the reason I bring that up is if you go and you look at, let's see if I have it up without having to do anything. Here we go, NQ. If you look at NQ, clearly we are one timing to the upside, right? So you can see we can one time to the upside, break the one timing and start it fresh. This usually indicates that there's a change in pace. Again, I would have said this would have been resistance right over here, and it was underneath that. It did serve as resistance once we broke above. It broke out. We've got to get back below that 7K to be bearish, okay? But once you start these movements, higher lows, higher highs, one time into the upside, okay, so this is one of the most challenging things in trading. We just came off of an environment where we got easy two-way price action. You were able to, if you couldn't get your price location, right? And one of the members in the room sent a comment last night over Stock Twits, and he said it's frustrating waiting, and that's true because what we were getting before is all day long. You could get location down low, up high. You could wait for the big fat rotation down, get the big fat rotation up. But it's changed. I want to stress why this is so important. When the market changes and you don't change with it, right? And you don't accept it, you're not going to be able to get location because all of a sudden, when you were disciplined before and you were waiting for the dips down low to get paid and was working great, right? You had fantastic location. It was fun, big, wide rotations. To these, hey, I've got to take the narrowest dip to the downside to get long, right? What a lot of traders decide to do is they decide to go, this is not sustainable and I should be shorting, okay? And they get annihilated to the upside. I have a simple rule for that. As long as a product gaps up until that gap disappears, don't short. Do you miss shorts? Yeah, you sure do. So this is if you have a lower skill level, it's how you protect your capital, okay? Yes, you will miss trades that set up as good shorts, but you will avoid getting run over in situations like this as well. I highly recommend it as a strategy. I know that when you look on Stock Twits and Twitter and everywhere else, they say, hey, I shorted and nailed it. Only the best traders I know can really do it and pull it off at a high win rate consistently day in, day out. So let's keep going through this process. This is why the one timing is important. As you can see on NQ, we are one timing to the upside. And until this ends, okay, so the environment has changed. We're having smaller dips. We're not getting 10-point rotations in ES. We're not getting 30 points down and 60 points down on NQ. You have to adapt or it'll go through cycles. So I want to bring this in one more time since TradeStation does a decent job of this and show you this so everyone remembers. See how we're at the very top of this cycle right now. See how the reason why the rotations on both ES and NQ have gotten so small is everyone has a high degree of certainty that we are going to continue up. There's no reason for people to be nervous here. If you go back and look, symbol, don't know why this it's so short, but okay, fair enough. It'll pull the data. There we go. If you go back and look how this works, okay, see when we're on top, the rotation sizes are really, really narrow. You have to buy small dips. Tick divergence comes at 7 and 8 and 9 point setups on ES. It comes on 10, 15-point setups and 30-point setups on NQ. As we go down, see, once we break the swing here, see if you look to the left, we break this swing right here. Notice once we break that swing, see how big the days get all of a sudden? People have gotten nervous. When people get nervous, the rotation sizes increase. So I'll never forget, there was a period of time in January. I had a client, he was from Scotland, and we were facing a situation very similar to this right here. The market looked just like this. It was actually January 2015 or January 2016. It had to be January 2015. And the market looked just like this. We went through months of these little tiny rotations. And he sent me a message and he said, my God, how will you ever make money again if it stays like this? And I said, I'll wait patiently because I know it won't stay like that. And then it'll pop up like this and I'll be ready to get paid. In the meantime, I'll adapt my strategy to getting paid in areas like this. This is true right now for ES and NQ, and it's important that you digest it and understand that's what we're dealing with. As long as the certainty is high, every dip will get bought, right? And we'll get slow grinded, pushed back up. Being short in the afternoon will be dangerous if you'll notice. So we can go look at this and get a characteristic of what we're dealing with here by just looking at this period right here. Right. So the first thing you'll notice is we were one-timing almost all the way up on this thing. The next characteristic you'll notice, okay, so I want everyone to be clear so they're not flustered, right? Because you have to have an idea of overall what's likely to happen. See that little arrow right there? This is RTH. This is where NQ closed almost every day. Notice that almost every day, wherever it dipped to, right? So low, close. I'm going to go through this. Open, low, close. Open, open, low, close. Open, close, open, rotate down, close, open, rotate down, close, right? Open, close, open, close, open, rotate down, close. One of the few closes we get on the low. Open, right, gap up, push down, close at the high. Open, push up, push down, close in the mid. Open, push down, close at the high, open at the low, close at the high, open at the low, close near the high, open at the high, right? This is the first day we got an increase. Notice it traded underneath prior days. So notice this is interesting, right? See all these days where we keep reversing back up and nothing's really stretching very far. This was okay. But notice that once we traded underneath that prior day's low right there, see that? Bam, look at the size of the rotation open up. Everyone got freaked out after days and days of inability to do that. They long liquidated. But more importantly, if you waited patiently, look, we come right into support right here, right? We come right into support, bam, rotate back up. If you just waited for that to come in right there, right? Notice you got 69.28. You had to understand the environment you were in. That was a 30-point rotation back up on NQ. I promise you that was 10 or 15 points on ES. Again, you're going to notice all the way open high, push down, close back up. What I'm trying to get across is notice that until we get underneath a prior day's low, that pattern continued all the way through until we finally gapped down, and that's what changed the program. Again, that 30th right there, that's what changed the profile of the market, which was the gap down below prior day's low. Okay, so now let's go and look at what we're dealing with right now, which is currently, this is NQ, then we'll jump over to ES. Okay, so you can see we are one timing to the upside. If I wanted to see that there might be a change in direction of the market, I'd have 7,100 marked off on NQ. On ES, I would have 2740 marked off. It's the first thing that has to come in. And even if we break it, I expect a little bit of expansion in the range and then response buying. Let's go through and look at what we're looking for specifically. Yesterday, guys, if you're not in the room, some of this will be lost on you a little bit, but key locations for the day, right? So you'll notice we're currently trading at 2747, right? Globex low came in at, we actually got a little bit loose there. 2742 was the low. This is still where the anomaly is. Again, I'm looking for, in terms of shorts on ES, what I'd want to see is a punch below, backside test, and then a setup within here on the backside test for a push to retest last week's high. My guess is between last week's high and this 27.34 is going to offer huge opportunity for a pop back up into the range in the late afternoon. The late afternoons tend to push up in slow summer markets, right? So that is what I'm hunting for, is this push down. Right now, are there other locations? So I'm going to give the more aggressive locations for those who want it in the room. The other aggressive location to get long for a scalp, I did not put it in the chart because I had the biggest support areas on the chart. But normally I would have had a support level right there at 27.4250. That's your alternative entry. That's where Globex Low came in. It made sense. Again, because the market is so slow, right? This support at the middle to bottom of the range gets blown out. At the top of the range, this support holds. You can write it down if you choose. 27.4250 should garner a responsive buy first time in. Again, I'm looking for this backside test to fail, and hopefully the second test, this 42.50, would give to set me up with a long down here in this 37 to 34 at 10 points. I'm looking for a long. I'm looking for tick divergence. I'm not looking to be, unless I have the algo on my desktop and I'm very skilled at shorts, I am waiting patiently for long location. And I want to tell you this, I want to be clear so everyone understands. The majority of people lose money day trading. The only way you make, that I know of, that people that make money day trading have two characteristics. They are able to increase size over time, and they know exactly the picture they are looking for, the trade setup they are looking for, and they're constantly trying to find ways, A, to either develop new edge, but they don't see new edge. I want to be clear about this. They don't see new edge and go, I'm going to trade it. They see new edge, and then they start developing a trade plan around that edge, right? And look for ways to exploit it, start on small size, build the big size, right? But the idea, and I get this from a lot of people that I start coaching, I want to get 10 trades through the course of the day. The traders that I see make the most money are 2 to 5 trades per day, sometimes across multiple markets, right? Some of them are at 10 a day across multiple markets, and they're very disciplined, very focused. And the guys I see that make the most money, with the exception of one, limit the number of hours they'll trade through the course of the day. That's the characteristic. So for today, what I have marked off on ES, which is my primary concern, right, is first of all, I want to see, again, can we trade below prior day's low? If we can't do that, I expect push up. The natural target to the upside is 27.53 to 27.54. Again, I posted the charts last night. I'll pull them up again in a moment. But this 53.54 is a natural upside target. So I have this whole anomaly. I have a white zone within a yellow zone. That whole area, 27.57 to 27.62, I am looking for reversal patterns out of that area. Again, if we get to 45 and I tack on 20 points, that's 60 to 65 points, right? So I really don't want to short above 62. I want to see it. I want my shorts to come in, believe it or not, underneath 62, because if I get over 62, 70, 77 is a pretty clear target. And these areas above right now, ES looks like it can take them out. Maybe not today or tomorrow, but it looks like we're working our way to retest the highs, is what it looks like to me, okay? First time into 27.46, 27.45. I expect if we opened up above, we're going to open, it looks right in it, so toss a coin, not sure. But had we gapped up, I would have looked for support there the first time. I'm looking for support between last week's high, right, and this white zone. I expect responsive buy from 27.34 to 27.30. And when we get in here, okay, so A, you'll notice that'll be a 15-point rotation. Volatility has declined. We'll be below prior day's low. So I expect if we get below prior day's low, we can expand lower. And then I will expect some kind of dance like this that'll ultimately end up with closing just back inside Monday's low, which would, if you look at this, right? So the reason that makes sense is if you look at how the market normally operates, right? You take, let's say this 47 is today's high, and let's say we travel all the way down to 30, you'll see that that 50-60 lands you right back at Monday's low at 27.40 and makes a good upside target. So we're looking for that stretch down and tick divergence into that area would make sense. That's the most, that's the easiest trade for shorts, right? I'd want to be underneath the anomaly. If you're shorting, you're aggressive. I want to be clear. If you're shorting, you're aggressive. And if you get stopped on that, you're totally cool with that stop and you're willing to take your high odds long as it rotates down. I cannot tell you how many times in this environment where it's frustrating, I see people shorting over and over and over again. They get to their max drawdown for the day so that when the layup comes and people panic over lunch or whenever it comes and it gets to your key area or you get tick divergence to the low where you actually have a chance of getting a 5 or 10 point rotation back up, and they go, this is what they say. I took 2 stops earlier trying to get the short. So when I got the location that I needed, I took the trade out for 1.5 points and I cut my trade size because I just wanted to recover some of the losses. That makes no sense whatsoever. If you're going to short in this environment, make sure as hell you have the firepower to take your longs. And what I suggest is you do the opposite. Since buyers are clearly in control, flip it. Pretend like you're already down for the day. Trade half size on your shorts. Be generous with allowing them to work because they're going to get hung up. In order to make them work, they're going to get hung up for long periods of time. What I mean by hung up is this. I pointed out yesterday the push back up into this 2746 was a good short location, 2646, 47 in the room. I did not take that short, but I pointed out this was a good area for a short. Now notice, if you shorted 46, you rolled all the way down to 44, you got 2 points. It's not a horrible trade. Notice from the first time that it hit 46, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 1 hour, 15 minutes before you finally got paid. And here is the beast about that, right? You figure, I finally have them. We're going to roll to the low. No, 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 no. They're going to come. They're going to come. They're going to clean out all the little tight stops from everyone who's trying to push for a trend day up. And if you don't take your profits on that little roll down, they're going to roll it back up. And 2 weeks ago, if you sat through this setup and you got this break was the announcement or the initiation of the roll back to the downside. Now this break is your invitation to cover, and that's what makes trading harder. Because if you sat patiently, you ended up taking a loss on that trade. That's all you can. There's nothing else to say about it. So to make clear, I'm waiting for rotations down, looking for longs. And if I had to choose one side of the market to trade in this environment, I'd skip the shorts. I'd focus on the longs. If I was gifted and talented and had the tools to work the short side of the trade, then work the short side of the trade. Just be very flexible as to what you're willing to take. Got no issue. Let's talk about the algo for a second. The trades yesterday. Okay. There's the algo. The zones are obviously not on there. So first of all, overnight, you can see we have a balance with an upside bias. Overnight, this is the overnight trade. This is a very small, this is 1.5 range that you're looking at there. And you can see they tried to push below. We held above VWAP. Inventory is neither long nor short. We long liquidated these guys in here. And I want to show you. So the rule is the same. See how the algo highlighted? Okay, so if you look through here, see how this algo right here, this delta, this is the highest volume bar of the entire night right here. You can't see it, it's hidden, but I promise you it's there. This is the highest bar of the prior 10, okay? Had the strongest delta, okay? See when I draw a line underneath that bar? Works the same way in the daytime as it does nighttime, right? See how we try to get above? But all I had to do was wait for the close underneath. See how we finally close underneath here? And I don't even have to have it a little bit closed. I can wait till it really closes underneath. See the backside test back up into this bar? That's what this is right here. This is the backside test up into this bar. It was on delta divergence. Right there, you see we had a red bar with positive delta. Please don't ask me how to explain how that works, but it does, right? And then if you'll look, what we're going to test down into is this guy, right? Actually, you know what? This guy first. See how we came off that guy? And this guy second. And now this guy is what's causing the problem. That's why we're coming up against him. This algo is telling you where the strongest buyers and sellers are. So what you're waiting for is an extension, get up underneath, and push below. Look at the low from yesterday, right? I pointed out that I missed it, actually missed it. So this is yesterday morning, right? So see on this push down here, see these bright pink bars? They're telling me, hey, there's large delta, right here. Here, I want to pull this up so everyone can see this. Okay. There's large delta right here, not at the low, but near the low, right? I'm going to highlight that bar. Where is my tool? There we go. That's not what I wanted. There we go. Okay. Okay. Notice, okay, I want you to notice that once we push down, no big deal. Now we've established above that bar, right? So I know I've beaten my last best seller right there. Now, what usually people want is for it to go away, but we're in a low energy environment and it's summertime. So what happens? They come back against it one more time, right? And do you see how when we come back underneath it, look at the deltas. See how there's no big heavy deltas underneath? We're underneath our best seller. We should have an easy time expanding to the downside, right? So we establish above once. It doesn't go. Now notice over here, we push back in, right? So see how we finally, so see here how we just kind of, okay, so this is important. I want everyone to understand. See how here we just kind of close above and it kind of tells you it could go. See over here how we really push away. The top of that bar is roughly 27.43, right? See how we actually get a big extension out, then we come right back to 27.43.50, right? And then, so this is where I said I should have gotten long, was off of this bar right here yesterday, and I missed it. I tried to grab it, I couldn't get back to it, and extended up. Where I screwed up yesterday was I didn't take this backside test against with a stop right below this bar, and that's what generated the final push right back up. So from that 43, generated up a push to 48. And again, when we're dealing with narrow ranges, that's what you're going to get. And the other thing you're going to see that's interesting here is, see this big push right up on top, that 2509? See how we came right back up to 2509 and rejected off of it? So notice underneath the biggest buyer, right? Excuse me, underneath the biggest buyer, here's the biggest seller. That buyer and seller combined to put a cap on it. That was 27.48, right? This is the pattern we're looking for. I know that if you're on YouTube, you're looking at that going, what the hell's on there? That's the algo telling me where I can see pretty clean opportunities to, it's telling me where the biggest buyers and sellers are with very little heavy lifting on my part is what it's telling me. So this is what we are looking for, guys. If you are looking, so let's clean up this chart a little bit. Let's duplicate this. And let's do this. Get rid of all the noise that's on there. Okay, hide. See if that gets rid of everything. All right, okay. Now if we look at that, that's a little bit cleaner. So this is 8:30 in the morning, right? First thing this is going to tell me, this is my best buyer right here. I can see it clearly. The bar's highlighted. I don't have to do any extra work, right? I need underneath this guy. Now, I have one or two ways of handling it. When I get underneath this guy, I'm going to put it right there. I can just simply short the bar that closes underneath. You can see we got the star. The star indicates when we've been triggered on a potential high odds trade, right? And I can just short right there. My choice B is to wait for the first test back to this bar, which Bill did. That's my second choice for a short. And then you'll also notice as we're pushing down, here's my biggest seller right here. Again, I have two choices, right? I can wait till we close above. If I take this close above, see, this is the first close above them. See how it gives me an immediate 2 points? That's scalping. That's how you pull money out of it. I've closed above. I have to be willing to take a stop if it fails, right? But I've closed above. I should push. We push up, right? Then we come back for a backside test. Notice red bar, red bar, red bar, no shift in the star. When we come back, there's your star that triggers off the low. See that right there? That bar right there. See that star? Triggers off the low. Now what do I need? I need to get above this point. I'm above this point. We backside test this time, right? Because we haven't had a larger seller than this guy right here. We work, we finally impulse move up, right? That's announced by the strongest move right here. Again, you'll see the star underneath that bar. Come back, and then you'll notice one more star if you want to take it late, or if you just want to take the backside test. That provides the push back up. That's how we're going to grind money out of the market in real time during the summer. That's how the algo helps us do it. I'll be getting more aggressive with the long side trades. With the short side trades, I'll take them half size. I don't feel like getting stressed over getting run over. So again, we've gapped up. That's a scap up that's small enough that I am willing to short in the first hour. If it's more than 5 points, it's not really a very healthy gap up, and I'd expect it to push down. I want to touch on one last thing before I go here real quick and drop off, and that's on oil, guys. Okay, here's my oil chart with the algo. Okay, this is VWAP up here. We have just been broken underneath VWAP for days. This thing is just one timing to the downside like a beast. But you will notice, see those little dotted areas? These are support areas. These little dotted white lines, these are support areas, and I'm looking for trades. Notice that the same philosophy holds. See this right here? In this series, this is my biggest down bar in this series. As soon as I close above them, see that? Now I push. This, let's find my biggest seller on the way down. It looks like it's this 1095. Okay, so 1095. So that guy right there. Oh, excuse me, the bar above it, 1795, becomes my biggest seller. This is currently my resistance. I want to see an impulse move above this area. It's right into 64.92, so 64.62. So really what I want to see is push, right? I'm looking at this right here. See this? That's telling me, hey, look here, Simon. This is where the big sellers are, right? I've got to get above this. And there's one other important place. This is my value area low from prior day. The reason that is important, okay, so see this right here? Oh, you can't see it because you can't see my chart. Sorry about that. Here we go. We'll fix that one more time. Go back. Okay, so first of all, that's how the chart looked overnight. You can see at almost every support resistance area, we got counter rotations. You can see that all the way through the night, right? So let me go back to this chart. Wow, they just, look at that, pushed right in, pushed right out. Okay, hold on one second here. Let's get to, there we go. Okay, there. Okay, pay no attention to the blue line, the red line, the orange line, all that good stuff. VWAP's all the way up here at 64.73. Please move this. These are the support lines off of my TPO chart. You can see we pushed up into resistance, rejected, pushed down into support, held, pushed down into support. So in order to get above, right, so I'm looking from this morning, what do I want to get higher? So you notice over here, see how on this push down, the high delta bars are being automatically highlighted for me. That 747 was my biggest seller, right? As soon as I get above him, right, it's takeoff time. Notice on the push up, all the way through there, my 392 was my biggest buyer. Closed underneath my 392. Notice my star fires on that one. I get a roll back down to support. CL's very compliant to support and resistance areas, right? On the way down, this 756, okay, is my biggest seller. I have to close above 64.51 to push higher. I need either a push, a backside test, or a bigger delta to print underneath to give me a long to the upside. Keep that picture going in your head. If you'll look, this purple line all the way up here, that's value area low. See this here? That's value area low. Why is this chart not? We're looking right. That's not right. Hold on a second. Yeah, it is. It's just not on here for some reason. Here we go. $64.56 is value area low. I've got to get above, oh, that's for today. That's why. Excuse me. Apologize. I've got to get above 65.07. Let me make sure I have that right. Hold on a second, guys. Oh, there we are. I've got to get above 65.07 to start to get a reversal. Okay. So I'm going to switch back to that really quick so you can see that. I've got to get above yesterday's value area low, which means my first challenge is getting above 64.85. As you can see, we are one timing. I'm going to bring this chart down. See this? That whole one timing concept that we talked before at the beginning of the trade. The one timing concept is very, very, very important to all markets. This is your major resistance right here, this whole thing. That is your resistance above head. Why? This contains time and volume, and sellers who are trapped here are going to want to sell when we get back up. And then you have your next levels off to the left, way up there. That was a pretty vicious move. And again, if you'll just wait till we stop one timing, right? So see how everyone who just insisted that this was all short, they just had to do one little thing to catch the short. See how we barely traded underneath prior day's low here, right? But if you just said, look, I'm looking to get below prior day's low and hold underneath. See how we clearly extended? See how we kept snapping back in all the way through here? The orange lines are the orange dots are where we closed. See how we finally closed at the low underneath prior day's low, changing character, change in strategy. Pretty straightforward. So anyways, that's my 2 cents. I'll be pointing out the CL trades as they set up today. I expect to have a pretty good day. Let's take a quick look at ES. Go back over here really quick. And you can see we're just nothing. We got to be underneath here at a minimum. There's just nothing here. Let's insert tick. Close this down. Tick is over the neutral line, 292. Nothing terrible there. We'll see. Eventually they'll run out of juice. I'm waiting for them to bring it down. Really, I don't have a desire to be short or be long. If you're aggressive and you just don't want to see the trade over Monday's high, be my guest. Short's the hard way. It will pay one time. I'll tell you that. If you're skilled enough, it will pay. Just not me. So there's that. There's NQ. Again, trading above prior day's high, trading above value, trading above prior low. They're going to continue to push as long as they possibly can. It can go longer and it can be crazier than you can stay capitalized. Okay. And that is that. So let's get to work. I am looking forward to making some money today. So let's set this up so we can see it all. Guys on YouTube, thanks for joining. Mind your capital, right? You worked really hard for it. Don't blow it out. If you don't know what you're doing, my strongest suggestion is you find a mentor who can help you. Strongest suggestion I can give. Best trades will come off of 10-point rotations. Let me set this up. Best trades will come off of 10-point rotations. And you can see pre-market, this is the strongest. Here, let's do this quick. The strongest delta in here doesn't exist. You just haven't had it yet. There's just nothing being highlighted that's of very much interest to me here in the overnight. Let's see. I'm looking for those pink and blue bars to start to show up to let me know the party has started to some degree, right? And they're just not there yet. So the other way to do it is to monitor who your best buyer and best seller is. Right now, I can tell you in this area. So overnight, it was this 1123 guy, but right now, just pre-market, the closest to the open, it's this guy right here. If you want to be short, you got to be underneath this guy, right? You can see they've already tried to close underneath him once and snap right back in right at the open. No shocker. He's your pivot point right now. There's no question about it. And if you hold underneath him, then you have a chance of rolling down again. I'm not looking for the short, but he's the key right now. He's the key for a push back down to levels lower. And you're right above that anomaly. So that's my 2 cents. Let's go make some money today. That's all I can say. Okay, guys. Thank you all for joining me on YouTube. Have a great day.